Zaggle Prepaid solution listed in India market has caught my attention where stock has given phenomenal quarterly results where the stock price is telling a different story altogether. It's all-time low, almost hitting all-time low. And whereas this is what exactly kind of a business we want to study in this channel because that's where we could identify whether it's a golden opportunity for us or it is market is already giving us some bad times coming for this business. We want to cover this detailed, technical, fundamental analysis with sharp framework. So stay till the end. So let's get started straight into it. So if you want to really get value out of this video, watch till the end because that's where you're going to be able to get value and that's where you will be able to drive some sense what I'm trying to communicate because if you're going to see bits and pieces, probably you might miss some important points. So because it's going to be a power packed video. So my name is Shivendra Bhatia and I'm following Peaceful Weekend Investing and I'd like to share what exactly this framework is all about, sharp framework. So let's get started. So here is my screen, which I'm sharing. A Zaggle Prepaid Solution Sharp framework. What is sharp? And as the name says, it has to be exactly sharp what we are trying to do because we are putting our hard-earned money to business. So sharp stand for S means story. What is the story of this business, and is it the right business we should be owning? H stands for honesty. Is it's a trusted management because if you have a story but not trusted management, if not honest, we don't want to be part of that. And the A stands for accounting. Are the profit real or backed by cash flow? Because otherwise, we don't want to be part of the window dressing companies. And R stands for returns. Is business compounding wealth? Because that is clearly identified with ROCE, return of capital employed, return of equity, and EPS growth. And we will see at the end of the price is the right price to buy or volume trend. What is other participants seeing as a business? So let's get started with the Zaggle. As you know, Zaggle is part of the spend management business, and what we want to do is first understand the business because understanding business is super important. Where what is Zaggle do? Zaggle is basically in center of all these core ecosystem where we have partner banks, so they're connected with merchants, users, and customers, which are corporates and SMBs, which basically are consumer of Zaggle platform to connect partner banks and merchants to be able to solve their spend management. What do you mean by spend management? Now, if you look at any business, right, they would do vendor payments if they have raw material purchases and they have to do some payments. Obviously, all business have to do some kind of payments and to pay tax and manage that, GSTs and all that. So that comes under vendor payment. Then there's another bucket of employees because the employees need to spend for travels, benefits, and they have, for retention. So you have to all kind of benefits provided. So you can have a solution for where employees get spending money. So you need to have spend management there. And then channel partners, when you see like, for example, Airtel, Vodafone, or for the cement companies, they all have channel partners to distribute or the dealership for pharmaceuticals, so they have to do some incentives, loyalty programs. So all these is where Zaggle sits right on top of their ERP solutions and integrated so that they can all be connected. In and all, this Zaggle brings real value added solution and bring all this ecosystem together and all the players together to get rid of all kind of manual works, reconciliation, back and forth, removing all the friction, and bringing transparency and efficiency overall. I think it adds a lot of value based on my experience working in fintech domain. So it is definitely worth a solution to look at it. Now, as you can see, it's basically a unified solution for SaaS and fintech. So if I go to the next slide, which probably gives you a better picture. So they have these 5 or 6 products. One is Zaggle Save for the employee benefits and expense, Propel for channel partners and sales comparison, and then Zoyer, which is specifically for vendor payments and accounting. You can look at my mouse. That's where probably you will be able to see what I'm pointing towards. And then Zezatic, which is to do with analysis of business expensive and MI's budget, and then fleet management associated with the fleet and logistics. So this is kind of a area where Zaggle plays. Okay, so let's go into our sharp framework because that's a business model all about what the problems are solving, right? And ticker is Zaggle, and Zaggle Prepaid Ocean Services Limited is the company name. It's a B2B fintech, spend management SaaS, prepaid and corporate cards. A market cap is around 2,832 as I'm recording this video, and stock price closed at 211, and this is the range. So it's a big range. You can see 186 to 470. I said it's almost close to their almost at their lows. And what's going on? So as per the sharp framework, which we have fundamental, which is 80% of fundamental, and T stands for technical, so 20% technical. So it's and then sharp is 59 out of 100, where you can see a 52 out of 80 and 7 out of 20. So it's moderate fundamental, low current technical timing. So let's go through what is this. So if you look at the sharp radar, right? So story is amazing. So it's giving more than 15 point, right, in radars. But honesty wise, it's kind of sitting middle at the moment, where 50-50. And then you look at accounting, which is also very low at the moment, which I'll tell you the reason why it is and cover that in details. And the return has been also middle, where and then the price is definitely very at the lower end. So that's kind of an radar says it, which is not great at the moment. So, what is the investment thesis? Zaggle is building intersection of enterprise spend, SaaS workspace, prepaid corporate cards, and embedded finance, which is structurally attractive space, as mentioned, for Indian corporate to digitize non-capex recurring spend because it's quite a pain point, and it basically brings 3,900 corporates, 3.9 million users, 50 million card issued, 19 banks have partnered with them, and multiple revenue streams across program fees, proper rewards, SaaS fees. So yes, so they do get a lot of fees and things like that. So which is and but stock is hitting low. What's going on? So yeah, again, let's look at some of the KPIs because you need to know how business rate themselves. So one of the key things is revenue growth. So they're getting green in revenue growth because they had 46% of consolidated revenue growth and 42% standalone. So it tells there is a strong adoption of their solution. And their EBITDA is also green, where we had a 51% of EBITDA. Operating leverage is visible. Net revenue quality is amber because Propel gross business reporting requires adjustment. So there is some kind of revenue where on the Propel business had some kind of challenges, and company itself has guided investors to net basis as well. And gross margin is still high but down. Their margins went down, and the customer growth. So they had 13% customer growth, which is okay. Yeah, and user adoption is also green. Bank partners are 19, which is fantastic. The CFO to over PAT is negative. This is the big red for this company at the moment. And that is where you need to understand the main accounting cash conversion is important. Otherwise, rest all is just uh, vanity. You look at it. So this is kind of a key metrics dashboard for P, ROC. ROC is amber, P is good because the price is corrected, and you got a ROE is also amber and red, and sales is doing well, profit is doing well, but it's not converting into cash, and that's what the negative and weak for this company. And promoter holding is decent, 44.16. Hopefully, they increase this, and we'll see whether this downturn is giving them confidence to add to their shares, which they have said on the recent TV interview. We'll check that. And there's promoter pledge is 0.55. This is not not worrisome. And that's your revenue and net profit chart, which is going on. But is this net profit translating into the bank balance? That is important. And you can see last 8 quarters revenues and net margin PAT is given to you. And then the operating margin and net margin also is kind of in the right trend. So let's move on. And this is a chart which I like to cover. It's called sharp marriage chart. What does it mean? We want to see what the business is doing based on revenue and PAT, and how is the price reacting in 52-week high and low annual band. This gray band is nothing but high price and low price during this month and year. So you can see here, this is a wide band, and the stock has been, if you look at it, the long-term trend, and stock has been going up and down to that, and now it's in red dot here, where stock is literally below this average, and currently it's 211, which is way low. Stock has been gone up to 450 and now it's half of it. That doesn't add up, and that marriage chart is very, very important because that gives you whether the story is intact or not, what is market participants are giving, and that's what we're going to find out from this video. But main concern here, which we want to track as part of it, is given that it doesn't have more than 10 years of history, it is very limited. So what we need to look at it is stock went all the way to 470 as a high, and now it's almost at lower end. But what is the other companies in this area where we don't have equivalent play at the moment? So obviously, MapMyIndia, RateGain, these are not equivalent fintech solutions. So we don't want to compare it at this point. But this is kind of a unique business model, which um, I don't think so any peers we have specifically in India, but globally, yes, there are some peers who are doing. What we need to really dig deeper is what is the growth volume and pricing looks like, what is their net revenue margin, whether their cash flow will turn positive without slowing growth. That is the one which we have to see, because if the cash flow is negative, that means they're growing fast and compensating against their cash flow, right? And so that's why the moat bar is 13 out of 20, because yes, I think switching costs will be tough because if you deeply integrate, but at this point in time, they don't have strong moat as such, right? Anybody with the, especially with AI, can come in with a new solution and disrupt this market. So that's another thing which we really need to watch closely, right? And so there is different local competitors like Happy, unlisted one like Cred, Encash, Carbon Card, RazorX, Bank Card Issuers. They could be another competitors to this. And if you look at it from Porter's five forces, they have very low buying power, and rivalries can be there, and there are substitutes as well. So that is another area you to watch out for. And some of the macros which impact their rates are inflation, because spends will not happen if rates are high. Inflation is high, which is what is another area to concern for this company as well, where currency is fluctuating. So there could be another one where you're looking at if they are looking for US, or they have indicated they're going to expand in Middle East region. So we'll have to see how it goes. Policy wise, government is green on that because government wants to move towards digital payment. Hopefully there's no regulatory impact to them, because and that is something which we have to watch out for. And geopolitical also is amber. In the value chain, they basically are mainly into spend management and SaaS, and they are dependent on banks, networks, cash, voucher issuers, corporate admin internals, and employees who are basically their consumers. So yeah, so this is what all about their kind of embedded finance layer, which I think I'm very excited about as a business, as a domain. But thing is, whether that will give them moat is what something we have to look at. Honesty wise, I think their CFO has resigned, so that's another thing which is a red flag to me. We need to look into that. Capital allocation has not been great. They've been acquiring. We'll see. Promoter holding is stable. Promoter pledge is okay. There's nothing much, and the related needs annual report review. So we'll cover that when we have annual report. And regulatory history, no major adverse at the moment, but keep a watch on that. Yeah, and that's where the issue is right now. The CFO is negative, and that's what market is not liking. And if I have to look at it, because this could have a big impact, and market has definitely raised that as a risk, and stock was down almost like 25%. And please, no recommendation buy and sell. It's only for education purposes. I might have the position or taken position. Please don't treat this. Please consult your financial advisor. And if you are staying till the end of this or watching this, give a thumbs up, give a comment to this video. It really encourages us as well. And if you want to share with your friends and family this video so they can benefit from that, that'll even great. So let's get started. So ROCE and ROE is also on the downward trend, which is also negative, as you can see. And EPS growth is there, but their returns are not meeting at the moment. And obviously, it's a growth business at the moment. We'll have to see and monitor that. What is very important to see how they will turn into cash flow. Now, one of the things which we look at is PBT me framework, right? price, volume, time, and market environment. Market environment is not great, and you can see price is also red. Volumes are not there. That's why it's crashing. And in terms of the time wise also, and market environment is also amber at the moment. So let's look at the chart, right? And if you look at TechnoFunda Confluence at this point is wait for price to give some indication. There's nothing we can do at this point. It is not an avoid. We need to see whether it is not further going down. And let's look at the chart at this point. Look at the chart. It's a perfect Burj Khalifa in making. As you can see here, the chart tells you the story here, right? And if you can see clearly, stock went all the way. Uh, okay, I can't grab the pen. That's fine. So I can see here what is going on, right? This is a high which is made, and then you can come back almost now. It is close to their. If I have to catch the horizontal line, so let's look at their IPO week. So this was the IPO week, and high and low, and you can see 156, 176, and 158, and that's where we'll watch out for that's going to touch this value or what's going to happen. And that's something which you have to understand. Price action is not meeting the story. That is clear from this chart. What is important here is to understand you have to be very, very articulate as a busy professional that when you get an opportunity to book profit, you should look for it because you should not have any hope trade. And that's why I always keep saying process is important. Story comes later. Story should be aligned to the price action and use that opportunity. So I hope you got value out of this video because we have covered in detail everything. What I'm watching for and key takeaways from it, what is the cash flow? Keep a watch on that because that is where management has given guidance that they will be looking into it next few quarters. So that is one. Recently they done some acquisition and how that integration happens. So that will give some indication whether they are really integrating well. The profits are there's impact on their profit margins. We'll have to observe that because they could just got 100 new employees, and there's no recommendation as such. I'm just sharing for knowledge purposes as well. And plus, I'll be watching out for the price action, which is tells a different story altogether, right? And whether the promoters are buying in this company is also another thing to watch out for. So till the next video, I would say goodbye. And if you have really enjoyed it, give it thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And also do put in the comment box below what the value, one key takeaway you got from this video. I'd love to hear that from you. Till next video, bye bye.